Good evening and welcome to the penultimate round of the Sam Pearce Motorsport Clio Cup. This evening we are from a sunny Snetterton, and unusually it appears to be dry, which is the first time I've been to Snetterton in the last 5 years, and that's been the case. I'd like to welcome my co-commentator. He's not the fast one, that's David. He's not the boss, that's his dad Peter, but he is still available on Saturday nights and is tonight's race director and co-commentator, Karl Graves. How you doing, Karl?
Yeah, good evening, Paul. I'm very well, thank you very much. Very well. And yourself?
Not too bad. Had a good week. Weather's held up. Very much looking forward to this race as we enter the back end of the championship. Matt does seem to have a pretty commanding lead there out the front on 130 points. Alex is in P2 with 90 points, getting some clear distance after that lights to flag victory last week. JMR Racing Scott is in third place with 66 points, closely followed by Ed, who does, we know, like to drive dirty, but 63 for dirty Ed. Kiwi Russ dropping down a little bit after last week's performance, where he was going really well until he had an unfortunate accident, 56 points in P5. Dave, dependable and solid and putting consistent results together, is in P6 with 46 points. Big Tom Starkey, the ginger wrecking ball, mixed results, having not really recovered from that disaster at Spa, where he was taken out by Matt in the lead with 41 points in P7. P8 is Graham with 31 points. P9 is Rob Lewis of Club Racing UK with 30 points after a good result last week, seems to sort out his problems. And Sam Pearce hasn't really had a great season, although he's shown pace. Is down in P10 in 21 points. And then we see the rest of the guys. So in 11th, Johnny T with 8. Nick McLeod, Night Sky Watcher, in 12th with 7. Dan also with 7. Rob the Bear down there in 14th. Not expecting him to be down there in P14 with 5 points. He has shown pace and was really looking good last week until he rage quit after that third place. Dirty Bertie down in 15th and yet to open his account. We do have Mr. G, but we have great hopes that in these last two races enough people will take themselves out and we will be able to see. And Rob the Bear, after last week, and that is a tricky corner, we'll come back to that corner shortly, but after last week, Rob the Bear has decided that once again he will have some onboard music to help him. I'm just wondering, Karl, if you get the chance and you can flick over to Rob the Bear, we can see what his choice of music is this week.
Yeah, I will do. I'll get his on board and see what he's up to. Should we go on board with
Rob Lewis?
Rob? I'll just turn everything on.
Rob Lewis. It's Rob the Bear.
Rob Lewis. Sorry, that's me. They're.
No, this is the fast Rob. We want the other one. There he is. And just turn his radio up and see what he's playing today.
He seems to be rocking the music again, Paul.
He is. I think he's trying to send us a message. I'm not quite sure what that message is, but there seems to be a consistent pattern in his musical choices. That could be it, Jason. That could be it. That could be it, Jason. And Karl, this is a very tight technical track. So last week we really thought that the pinch point was going to be the first slow right-hander back onto the Hanger Straights at the International at Silverstone, and it didn't appear to be the case. It was actually the first right-hand corner, which was pretty quick and flat out off of the start line, that caused a lot of the problems. And in fact, this week's circuit is exactly the same. It is a flat right-hander in fourth gear. So I'm wondering if we're going to see some same issues again.
Yeah, I believe you find we will actually have the same issues. Talking about issues, I go on board with Alex at the right time there. I think the first corner will be fairly smooth. I know they've been practicing. I haven't actually been able to join many of the practice sessions this week round. I don't know about yourself, but the first corner always seems to be okay here. It is that pinch point into the first hairpin that can be a problem. And we may see a few optimistic moves there on the first lap.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of things which will be interesting. first of all is the first right-hander, this right-hander here, which is very fast in fourth gear, but we have seen different people sort of losing a bit of momentum. Coming down into the hairpin there, we do expect to see some challenges here. If you brake too late, you will outbrake yourself and go very wide. And there are going to be similarly paced cars all arriving there at the same time. This left-hander, not so much of a challenge. There's a little dab and on the way in. Hit the first apex, let it run wide, take all the speed up. There is another pinch point here potentially on the first or second lap, which is another heavy braking zone. We're expecting to get up to the 200 metre board and then slam on the brakes, down into second gear, late apex and then back on the power. Graham just giving him a little nudge there just to say hello, I'm still here and I'm following you around. He hasn't raised quick yet, so that's a bonus. Dabbing on the way in, again, this can be tricky, you can run wide through here. This is a heavy braking zone again, so we do see a number of tight areas. Great move by Graham there, even in practice. He's setting his stall out, saying to people, I am going to send it today, because he doesn't know whether or not he's going to complete the race through his race quit. But he will, and we come down the straight, and we end up maxing out in sixth gear, under the bridge, and the left-hander, not so much of a challenge, but actually it's the slow, tight right-hander that follows it. So as we come under the bridge, heavy braking again, two different lines on the way in, and it's this right-hander that can be tricky. As we've seen exactly that there, he's hit the sausage curve and he's gone hairball. So thanks for the demo there, Graham. I'm not sure you're doing that on purpose. And then back through here, flat out again in fourth, maybe touching fifth if you get a good run out of the corner, into Corham, which is a great circuit corner in both real life and in the game. But this is the tricky one. Murray's, the slow left-hander. Can you get the car stopped? And I do expect to see a lot of people struggling to get through there as we complete a lap. And it'd be interesting to see if we can go on board with him there, I think, just to see what music he's been listening to. We'll get back. Yeah. And we're back. We're back. Sorry about that. We seem to lose our broadcast there for a moment or two. Well, he did. I mean, he told us he was going to make a massive announcement this evening, and I didn't realise that was what it was going to be. I thought it was going to be something about his 2021 season, but, you know, there seems to be some clear messaging for everyone here, I think. He has. I mean, we know he's in Dubai. He's done well to stay up until 10 past 11, 3 hours ahead there. But this is the sort of music that we know that Jason likes to enjoy. There he is, look, on a leisurely drive out in the Norfolk countryside this week, enjoying, taking in the scenery. He's probably got a cigar on, maybe even an espresso or something similar. Could be. Yeah, I mean, he does like a little bit of lift music. That seems to be the way to go. And Jason yet to get his account open during this season. It would be nice if he could speed up. Probably is the best way to say that. But I think he's optimistic if he thinks that 6 cars are going to drop out. The first week he probably would have got away with that, but we do seem to remove some of the glitches. And the timings, as we look at it at the moment, is Graham on a 2:04. Scott, who we know is a good qualifier, has struggled off in races, but since we've got his act together the last few races and pulled some results together in P2 with a 2:04. So no one in the 2:03s yet, which is what we're expecting it could potentially be. We do know this is a 10-minute practice session ahead of a 15-minute quali session. Alex and Matt, the top 2 in the championship. Matt and Alex in P3 and P4 there. Kiwi Russ, round about where he has been quite a lot, in P5. And Rob Lewis back again. So Rob seems to have got over some of those early season tyre glitches and he's banging out some times in P6. So that's the end of the 10-minute practice session. It'll be interesting to see whether or not anyone actually does get into the 2:03s during the qualified session, which is due to come up very shortly. Have you got any thoughts about who you think is going to do well in this race today? Yeah, I think he's probably been in that hot tub again, hopefully on his own. So Graham just rounding out our top there on a 2:04, so just outside the 2:03s is what we're expecting. I've just got a little message that he's just getting ready for this qualifying session, Sam Pearce, and he's playing himself some of his normal happy music because we know he's such a happy chap. He is. I mean, we do know that he's such a happy chappy. He is such a happy chappy. And he comes out the pits, so I think there's a bit of tactics going on here. He's left it a little while before he's come out of the pits onto the circuit. So he's obviously looking to see whether or not he can get a tone. Is that our series leader in front of him, Matt, there in the orange and black car? No, it's not. That's Alex, who's pretty quick round here. Yes, well, it'd be interesting to see how the guys shake out. I mean, I think we always gone wide there, and here we do have Tom Starkey, who we know has had some confrontation during this. He's got a massive fan club of at least 2 people, as far as we understand, and that acrimonious departure from the Green Star Racing team. But he has to psych himself up, and he did say to me that this particular piece of music is the one that gets him really fired up for racing. Yeah, so hopefully he can behave himself during this race, because he has had moments where he has got some pace, but he doesn't manage to string those results together on a Saturday night. Sunday night proving to be far more successful for him, Karl. He is, and just to run through a few of the people maybe joining us for the first time, the names that you see on your screen is OTK, which is Matt Parr of Grant Motorsport, who is a Castle Coombe Saloon Car champion, so leading our series fairly comprehensively, and it will take a miracle for him not to do it. But he is a proven winner and continues to do so. Alex Neville, NEV on your screen, is Grace Motorsport. He's a Mini AM champion and he's now running in the next series of Mini Pro with you guys, Karl, the Grace Motorsport boys. You're due to be running him if you get out this year. Lovely. TOT is Ed Whitehouse. PRO is Scott Thompson of the Pro-Am Racing team. They have a fantastic 182 Clio, and they race in Track Day Trophy and Track Day Championship with MSV, the 45-minute race series. And they have just opened their online web store for various parts. So we wish them every success with that. Dan Underwood, D4N, is of the Captain Underpants racing team, has been very solid. Rob Lewis of Club Racing UK, ROB, who races a Focus in the BARC Championship, and also one of the founders, along with the rest of the guys, at Club Racing UK, and they have a podcast out on Tuesday nights, which is well worth joining in. Nick McLeod, Night Sky Watcher, who's a friend and colleague through the Supatune team. Sam Pearce, who is our founder of this series, is SP Motorsport and has been racing this year, would be in his first season, so we're hoping to get through to him. But he is part of the G&M Motorsport setup and has successfully prepared and run some cars into P2 and P3 in the championship and various race wins over the last few seasons in that. Kiwi Russ is a Track Day Trophy racer and has joined me in the car on many occasions. Graham Crowhurst, the beast of brands, is a BMW CCR champion in the M2 class in his E46 M3. Johnny Tempest, 850 on your screen, is classic touring car race club driver with an 850 Volvo, the big Solidity estate that they used to run in BTCC, which is a really great looking piece of kit, so we hope to see that out this year. Rob Burnham, Rob the Bear, BEA in your screen, is an MSV Track Day Trophy and Track Day champion. He has been second place in the championship a couple of times. We won't go into any more detail about that, and has numerous race wins under his belt, along with Big Tom Starkey, who has joined the G&M Motorsport team this year, but up until now has been racing with Ron Burnham in Track Day Trophy, Track Day Championship, and has a number of wins and second place in the championship under his belt as well. Jason Goddard, Mr. G, on your screen, is part of the Dubai Drives team. Andy Birtwistle and Dave Howlett are Track Day regulars in the Polo group. Andy is known as the Torpedo in this and has mixed respect. He's got lots of pace, but mainly because he doesn't use his brakes. So please avoid him at your peril otherwise. And I am pleased to announce that for the, I think it's the 7th week we're in now, Karl, that Andy has been allowed to be in-out. Now, we do know that the restrictions have been slowing down a little bit, and we have been able to go out a bit more, but he has consulted with Natalia, and she has said that Andy is still not allowed out, no matter what the Prime Minister of the country says, so looks like he's going to be in for some time to come. Yeah, and we have got a question. If we can go on board with, or follow Johnny T just for a minute. Oh, there's a little bit of a note there. Look, the torpedoes, that is usual stuff. Johnny T there he is, Johnny T. So sorry, just as I come to my screen. A message from Cosy Racer Tom Murphy. Is there a chance that my money's on Johnny T to do more than one lap this time? So just to let everyone know what happened last time, he disappeared. We don't really know exactly what happened. And then we found out in the week that he'd gone into the pit lane after getting a drive-through penalty at about 900 miles an hour and actually got disqualified really, really early on. So, I mean, if you are Mr. Health and Safety, look away when Johnny's in the pit lane, because he is going in there at full tilt. He's going to send it down the pit lane. And he has been fairly consistent, Johnny, and getting quicker and quicker. But if we go back to our leaders now, as we look and see what's shaping up. So Alex, our Series P2 guy, has put in a 2:04.8, which we think is around about a second off the ultimate time. But I don't know if you can see in the sky there, Karl, it has become a little bit overcast. And we know that Snetterton does have some changeable weather. The sun was out in the initial session. I don't know if that's impacting on this at all. But Alex with a 2:04.8, followed by Matt on a 2:05.1, and Rob Lewis in P3 with a 2:05.4. So just 0.3 seconds between Rob, who we're looking at on our screen, and Matt, who's in front of him. So it is looking quite close. Then a little bit of a gap back to Kiwi Russ, who has put in a 2:06, which is just 2 seconds off the pace. Graham is 3 seconds out, so I don't think he's had a clean lap because he has shown some pace. The beast there in his monster livery, his preferred monster livery, after changing sponsorship for that Brands Hatch round, he's managed to keep hold of that for a few more races. Hopefully see the end of the season. Sam Pearce is on a 2:09 in P10 as well, so we're expecting to see Sam put some good laps together. We know he's certainly in the 2:06s, but I don't know if this cloudy conditions have slowed the teams down a little bit, Karl. It is, I mean, yeah, you just don't know, do you? It could be back to sunshine. I don't think I've ever been there for a whole day. You do get to see all four seasons. I had one of the scariest days of my life there in a Clio in the wet, which if Kiwi Russ was able to co-broadcast, he would confirm. And if we just have a quick look there at the Ginger Wrecking Ball, Big Tom Starkey, who is in P6 at the moment. Just a shout out to his dad, Jeff. Good evening. Hope Wendy Jr. is doing well at home and tucked up nicely on this lovely summer's evening. I'm not sure if a lovely summer's evening or not, but we do expect Tom to hopefully have a bit of luck, which he hasn't had so far, in that white, red and black G&M livery, which is a sign of his new team for this year, which I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get out or not. He has actually been in hospital and had a procedure this week. We don't know what it was, but my money's on that it was the Belgravia hair clinic, so he can finally get rid of those ginger locks, or lack of ginger locks, and go back to a full black hair and moustache. So we'll see whether or not that is the case, but we are hoping that he has a bit better luck during this race and manages to avoid contact with some other people, because he was looking good and has been looking good in a number of races. And it's getting a little bit quicker at the front, so we're down in the 2:04s now, with Graham putting in 2:04.5 in that monster livery. We know he's quick everywhere. We don't know whether or not he's going to race quit at any time, but we are hopeful that he hangs out. So qualifying, we haven't necessarily had the issues with the tyres. It's gone into the race, but we'll see whether or not we can get some consistency. And Scott has pushed into P2, 2:04.7, just 2 tenths off. Alex Neville in P3, just 0.3 off, and our series championship leader Matt in P4, just 6 tenths off, and Rob Lewis in P5, 9 tenths off. So the top 5 covered by less than a second, and then a bit of a gap back to Kiwi Russ, which is kind of the way that the series is shaken out. I am expecting Sam Pearce to hopefully get a clean lap and to put in a better time than the 2:07, because we do know that he has some pace, and these two are going at it. I mean, we've seen this quite a lot so far, Karl. These two very evenly matched, both in the championship to some degree, but also have had some great battles on track throughout the racing season so far. It would have done, but yeah, but we do know that he does play a bit dirty, and he's just given a little nudge there as he's come up the inside. He said, "No, I'm not having you on the track with me. Bosh, have some of that." But we do know that it's a game and it's not real life, so you can get away with some things, and we haven't got any damage switched on. So we are expecting people to send it as we join Alex on board and into Matt. So Matt is in P4 at the moment, 6 tenths off. And it is looking a little bit more cloudy. I'm not sure if the weather's going to hold off, but we're hoping that the sun comes back out for the main race. No really improving on their lap times, although Ed has now come into P6, 0.1 off. Ed, we do know, is permanently playing this game because he's a student. He tried to pull some fob story off about having to do some work this week, but we all know that that's a load of nonsense. And really, he's been either watching pornography or playing with his steering wheel, so to speak. Yeah, well, I believe it's. I used to call it a snake bite and black because you could go for a snake bite and not with the black currant. But it's just called a snake bite now because I am getting really old at 47. So I've had my information updated, which is basically cider lager and a splash of. And there we go. We know that Ed is dirty and he's taken out dirty Bertie there. I think getting a bit of his own treatment. So you know, everyone seems to be playing to their normal strengths, which is basically Ed, Andy and Alex being really dirty, smashing people out of the way, trying to get toes to improve their lap times and generally not being good eggs. And there we go, Andy's obviously decided that he didn't want to take the last couple of corners, and I think he's probably taken the penalty for that, but he's completely cut across. And there we go. It is, yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he can improve across the line. Does he move up across the line? No, he does improve his lap time. But Alex will be able to finish this. Yeah, Alex will be able to finish this. Scott gets very wide. Is that going to put him off? Yes, is the answer to that. So I can't see him improving on his time as well. So it is looking as though Graham is going to be in P1. So Jason moving out of the way very politely there. He's obviously learned from when he took Graham out at Alton, when he was in a commanding race leading position. But Graham it will be interesting to see whether or not he just wants to stick it to the rest of the field and let people know, I'm the man, I am the monster. There is some shenanigans going on ahead of him, so are they going to ruin his lap? That would be the story of his life. As he comes out of the right-hander there, comes along into Coram while these two are playing, and he has had his lap ruined by Dirty Bertie. What a surprise. What a surprise. Dirty Bertie. Ruining someone's life once again, not just Natalia's. He is ruining something, and it looks like he was going after Rob the Bear there as well, with some rallycross, and he's given up. So there is a bit of shenanigans going on. I don't think that's an indication of what's going to happen in the race. I hope it isn't. So just to run through our field for our race. So in P1, Graham with a 2:04.5, Scott of Pro-Am PRO in P2 with 2 minutes 4.7, just 0.2 behind our championship leader Matt in P3. And Alex did send a very complicated message to us in the WhatsApp group earlier in the week around, you know, if the sun rises in the east, he's going to draw to his right, and if this happens and that happens. But I think most people tuned out after about the first 4 words, and I've no idea actually what that was. But I think Matt is right in the mix there with Alex very closely behind. So it will be interesting to see how we get through that first corner. He has. He's put in a 2:04.3. So just to show everyone that he is the champion, he's banged in a 2:04.3. And as usual, Graham is going to take this really well because we know he really enjoys being picked. Oh, and my goodness gracious me, it is a storm, Karl. There is rain at Snetterton. It is hammering down. That's beyond rain. That is a thunderstorm of sorts. And I hope that everyone has remembered how to program in their windscreen wipers. Otherwise, this could be a very long 20 minutes for people. That's Rob Lewis there from Club Racing UK, who's in P6. And it is very, very heavy rain. It's not even light rain. This does look like it's here to, and the thunder and lightning coming. So this could really upset the pack, and we could be seeing people that have been banging in some fast laps in the drive, whether or not they're going to be able to hold that form as we just wait for the grid to form up. And is there any secret to racing Snetterton in the wet, or is it just a case of work it out as you go, Karl? Exactly, and here we go. I think we're ready to start syncing up, and here we go. We're ready for the start. So it's going to be absolute carnage into this first couple of corners. No one knows where the braking points are. Let's see how they get on. As we are green and we all go. There's a lot of spray coming off the cars in front. Really do need your wipers on. And the first two at the front of the field manage to get through. They're three abreast at the very front of the field as Sam Pearce goes wide. And everyone coming into the hairpin, and they are struggling to get it stopped. And there's trouble. Rob Lewis is on his roof. Rob the Bear has managed to get round there and jump up a few places into P6. But our series leader, Matt, still seems to be out in front, closely followed by Graham. So they did get themselves off of the line in the right way. In a good way. TOT and Alex in P3 just ahead of Scott, who we're riding on behind at the moment. They are getting through there better than I thought, because these are notoriously twitchy cars in the drive, but they've managed to sort of pace themselves very well and get through there. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's, and two of the people go wide there through the left-hander of Hamilton into the right-hander of Oggies. And then Sue's going to get a good drive out of the Williams right-hander coming up onto the Bentley straight. As Alex tries to put a move on Scott, has he made it stick? No, I think Scott's managed to get down the outside there really well. And there's a lot of water on the track. So as they come down this start-finish straight, it'll be interesting to see. So Graham is seeing whether or not he can make a move on our championship leader. He's got everything to play for here, so he's gone up the inside, and Matt has conceded the position, but he's gone off. He's managed to go off, take too much speed in. Matt's played the long game there. Graham's gone for glory, and Ed's off in the same corner, and he's joined the track and not managed to take anyone else out. So all sorts of action in the first few corners, Karl. The wet weather has made it very interesting, and it's great to see. Yes. And maybe this is the race that is going to seal that championship for him with the final race at Bradford. And Alex goes wide, so he's taking a lot of speed into that right hand. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he can get it back on the track and get the car stopped. And he's very nicely taken the first hairpin of Montreal. And then he comes up left into Palmer, and then a short sprint down the short straight into the next stopping zone, which is Agostini. So these two clearing the championship and clear yet again on the track there. He's clearly pushing very hard, and Matt understeers wide there into the right-hander. I just wonder if we could go and have a look to see how Big Tom Starkey's getting on down in P12, please, Karl. and he has brought his Norfolk fan club with him to this evening's race. They always come out to Snetterton, whether it be in real life or in the virtual world. So I'd like to say good evening to his dad Jeff, but I'd certainly like to say a good evening and hope you're enjoying watching Big Tom Starkey drive to Brewster, Eve, and especially Dougie and Ralph. So if you are watching, hopefully you've got your racing gear on and you are supporting Big Tom, who's had some mixed results so far, and he normally makes a good drive up through the field. So down in P12 at the moment, which is not what you want to see him, but I think that this is a long race. There are 15 minutes remaining still, and hopefully we'll see him get back up through the field. So this is just for you guys, and thanks for joining us, and I hope you're having a great evening. Interestingly, our series organiser, Sam Pearce, is making his way back up through the field after going wide early on, and he's up to P10, and he has got the other positions just up there in front of him. So the field is pretty close. He hasn't necessarily had the best of luck this season, but we do know he's got pace. And as Rob the Bear goes wide in the hairpin and comes back inside, is that Nick McLeod, a bit of contact there. So they are both taken out, unfortunately. So yes, Jason's had a bit of a shocker there, who was up into he's up into P10 amazingly, but he has taken out Rob the Bear. We know he really takes these things very well indeed. And there is a debate online as to who was doing what, but we'll watch the replay. We will watch the replay. But that has moved Sam Pearce up into P8, and he's making some great shapes to get up through the field. So maybe the rain is the confidence inspiring surface that he needs in order to get that elusive result as he works his way back up through the field, with Rob just in front of him and Kiwi Russ not far in front, and also Dave. So Dave in P5 is doing his normal Karl and just staying out of trouble, keeping it on the black stuff and reeling the cars in front and potentially getting another significant points haul. So I'm just being told that actually everyone could only hear me there, only hear me for most of that call. So it does sound like I'll be talking to myself, but hopefully they can hear you now.
let's fingers crossed. If you can give Paul the thumbs up, that you can hear me.
Yeah, so I'll just send a quick message. Yes, is the answer to that.
Posse Racer has just come back, so perfect.
Yeah, so thanks to Reggie for pointing out the fact that I was talking to myself the majority of the time there. And the racing's getting very close on track. So Sam Pearce is up in P8 with the human cannonball Ed behind him, who is prepared to take anyone out. I'm not sure it will go down well. Sam is prepared to go up there and give him a good smashing in the teeth if he takes him out. But Kiwi Russ, who's pretty wild and reckless in the drive, may find that particular driving style isn't especially well suited to the reign of Snetterton. And these guys really are closing up quite closely, with Dave in P5, Rob Lewis in P6, Kiwi Russ in P7, Sam in P8, and Ed in P9. And in the points, in P10, is Mr. G. But he's got Big Tom Starkey, the ginger wrecking ball behind him. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not. But there we go, as we see on the screen, he's gone wide at the thought of it. He's getting a nosebleed and he's wide. Is he off? He's managed to get it back on track, but Big Tom Starkey's got a run on him down into the corner, as we see. Is he going to back out? And Tom gives him a little nudge through the left-hander and takes that points position away. So Mr. G has got to get his foot down and see whether or not he can reclaim that P10. But wouldn't it be great in these adverse weather conditions for a man who doesn't see any rain in the sunny tropics of Dubai to actually pick up some points, Karl?
It would be fantastic. I think he's found his footing here, racing in the wet. Maybe he's just so used to racing in the beautiful sunshine that the wet's exactly what he needed to get going.
It is, and he seems to be doing a great job. As we drip down the field, if you wouldn't mind, just to see Johnny T. So, first things is that Johnny T has managed to actually get past the first couple of laps, and he does have a massive fan club of 2 people, that, as we know. It is great to see him. Actually manage to get past the lobby stage and not take out a few people in the pit lane. Slow and steady, keeping it on the black stuff, very similar to Dave, taking it. And yet again the commentators first right. But what is handy is parked it there next to one of the orange signs, and we know there's a gap in the fence, so if you did want to get out and have a cup of tea, that would be the perfect place to do it. But no, Johnny says, I'm not having that. I'm going to continue to see whether or not I can get up in the points, because there are 10 minutes remaining. We are halfway through, and there is a big opportunity that plenty of other cars can come off, and there are points up for grabs, I think, Paul.
There are indeed. I'm just going to cut to a fight that I've been watching here, and it's between Dave and Rob Lewis. They've been constantly close, and they've got Kiwi Russ right behind them as well. If we go on board with Kiwi Russ, we see that he helped Dave round the corner there ever so slightly. But this is a very, very close race. They've been trading temps here and there on the circuit time. So if you see got 5 cars here within a second,
it is
Mr. Pearce himself.
It is, with Ed getting very close to him as well. That is dangerous. You don't want to be near Ed. Is he going to try and stick out the inside? Sam's gone a bit wide, and he has a little bit of contact between the 2 cars. Thunder and lightning, that's probably Sam's reaction. But he's going to have to do a better job into that corner this time around. But it's now the hunter becomes the hunted. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not Sam is going to send it. The postman, as we call him, or Scrappy Doo as we prefer to call him. It's going to be interesting. So these 2 do have some history. But the fetus, that is Ed, in the position in the white and purple car. And then we have Sam Pearce, who has 0 races behind him in real life, but plenty of races behind him on this championship. And the spray is horrendous there, Karl. You wouldn't want to be doing that, would you?
It's not. You can see on board how close these are, and he's going to get the toe up Bentley Straight. It's one of the longest straights that we come across in the series, and it's whether he's just got the brave. He's done a bit of an Ed on Ed there, it would seem.
He tried to send it up the inside, which is perfectly entitled to do, because I would say that he was mildly in front there. And it'd be interesting to see whether or not he gets a penalty for that.
I would have thought he will be getting a time penalty for that, because he's actually come out in front of Ed. The computer works in mysterious ways. It takes in the average time. So if Ed didn't actually make a very good few turns there, he wouldn't have actually lost any time, or he'd lost time, and therefore Sam wouldn't be getting a penalty.
So it's now down to Sam to chase down the group that's in front of him, which is Kiwi Russ, as the thunder and lightning continues to smash down into as we follow Kiwi Russ now into the fast right-hander, turn 1, which is Riches, down to the heavy braking zone of Montreal, and Russ doing his usual job of sort of being in the midfield there. The weather's not getting any better.
Dave, you can see the scary trees there as well. So they haven't updated the game quite yet, because they've still got the scary tree involved. So
there you go. The scary tree, as we know, unfortunately has left us in real life. So Kiwi Russ, it looks like he's got a little bit more speed than David, though he's gone wide there. It's going to be interesting. Is he losing control? No, he held it together. We fully expect it's a bit like driving Triple Eights on here, round in the wet in something like Track Day Championship with MSV, which is highly slippery. And he seems to be gaining time on the car in front, which also seems to be gaining time on Rob Lewis in P5. So P5, 6 and 7 seem to be very closely matched, and Alex has taken the lead of the race.
Leads, yeah. So I've just noticed the lap times there, so something has happened with Matt on that last lap. He lost 2 seconds over Alex, which has actually given Alex the lead, and a nice comfortable 0.7 of a second. So something happened there which we've missed. We can't cover all cars, unfortunately, but the lead 3 now are bunched right up.
They are, and not too far behind them as well is Graham in the monster car. So we know he's got the pace, and he's putting in the fastest lap times. But Alex out front, who was supposed to make his debut on the undercard of the genuine full British touring cars this weekend, is making amends for that by having a great outing out of the front of the field. And hopefully, Karl, he's not on a win bonus with Grays Motorsport, and there's not some contractual obligation for you to reduce his arrive and drive fees.
Thankfully not. That's one thing. I think it should be the other way round, though. If we get any wins, it should be the driver paying us a little bit more, surely.
I totally agree with that, and in fact if he wins this I think he should be giving you all cash immediately, because you do seem to have had to have made that down payment to Supatune to buy his talent back, which he lost last year, and it has transferred over into the Grays Motorsport team. So Alex out front, and we do know that he is good at leading, because he did at Silverstone from the lights to the flag without making any mistakes, but he did have a little bit of a clearer run and did have a margin, whereas we've got Matt behind him, who really has nothing to lose, because he is likely to still win the championship anyway this evening. And we know from previous experience that he's not going to settle for championship points and taking the trophy. He is going to go for that win.
He will go for the win, and it's closer back at the back. We've got 4 more drivers together, including a light flashing Sam Pearce.
So he's flashing his lights to try and put them on Rob Lewis, Dave, Sam the P-head in 8th, and Ed in P9. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not Ed does try and send it, because and Dave turns the corner and Sam takes that and tries to have a little look up the inside, or was he just being defensive, and it works out. So they've all got through that corner, but is he going to get a run on Dave down here into the left-hander? No, they all go nose to tail. It's a difficult carpeting, but Rob Lewis going a little bit wide there as we come into the right-hander. Another heavy braking zone, and Ed comes into camera view very shortly and disappears off. So it will be interesting to see whether or not Sam can get a tow down this Bentley straight, and Ed is right behind him, so he could get the draft as Sam moves to the left hand side, takes a defensive line and says to Ed, if we're going to stick a move on me, it's going to be round the outside, my friend, and that is not an easy manoeuvre to pull off. Spray coming up into his face off of these Gen 4 Clio Cup cars, under the bridge, heavy braking zones, down 3 gears, and Ed's having a look, but no, he's not close enough, as Dave has gone off and Sam's gone off as well. So Ed manages to jump 2 places, up into P5, I think, P6, P7 rather, and Dave and Sam collect it up together, so they're going to have to try and track him back down again with just 4 minutes remaining. But some great action there, and some really close racing.
Ed done well of backing out there, so to avoid the accident, he come back through to give it through. But I think we're now that's going to mean that Kiwi, Russ and Rob are going to be a little bit clearer ahead, giving themselves some air.
But just half a second between our two front men now, so Matt is trying to chase down Alex. There's pride at stake here, and it is the virtual world, but we do know that both of these guys have won championships outright. So Matt Karl in P2, who is our championship leader at this point in time, is a Castle Coombe champion, and he's fantastically prepared by Grant Motorsport 106. And he's won a couple of championships up there and did some fantastic stuff. But out in front is also a champion, Alex Neville, who is a Mini AM champion and a champion in his own right in similar spec cars, and he does know how to lead from the front and will absorb the pressure. So it'll be interesting to see over these last couple of laps. There's 3 minutes to go, so probably 2 laps. It's gone wide, but he's managed to collect it up. And Matt's closed up.
Matt's going to have a close on. It looks like they've got just over 2 second lead behind Scott behind there, so he's sort of out of the tow range now. I think we will be getting, this will be our penultimate lap vehicle before we go down, and there's not too many more battles going on through the field. We've got Ed and Rob, 6th and 7th, having a little battle. We've obviously got Dave and Sam, the closest, and as Dave tries to do the undercut there, but Sam just stops that from happening. But those are the ones on the circuit that are the closest at the moment.
They are, and the field has spread out a little bit, but you know, you never say never in these conditions, and there may be an opportunity for 1 or 2 cars pushing towards the end. And I'm pretty sure that Matt's not going to settle for P2. I really don't think he's going to accept this from Alex, although it may be a championship winning position. We do know that he will have a go at it if he gets a sniff, but Alex is driving supremely at the front and not making any mistakes at all. But, as we've said before, this is a tricky circuit in the wet, and anything could happen over the next few corners.
It is, and we're on our last lap, so we'll be following these 2 home on the last lap and seeing how they come across, and see if Matt can make up the 0.6 of a second that's required.
All it takes is 1 missed braking zone, or 1 piece where he goes a little bit wider, but he's negotiated the first one, and Matt has sent it in there pretty tightly. And the person who could benefit from anything that goes on is Scott, who's consistently in P3. So Scott's doing a great job yet again in a podium position. in that Clio. His Clio experience coming to the fore. But Matt is not going to settle for P2. There's no way. He really is going to try and close that gap down, put the pressure on Alex, and just see how far back he can send one of those moves. But if Alex is under pressure and he leaves his brake a bit late as he goes a little bit wide there, and Matt just picks up a bit of time, but Alex gets to drive out the corner and maintains the position into the fast left-hander that is Hamilton. Which is pretty quick in real life and probably pretty quick as well. So just a little bit of a tidier line there from our champion leader, Matt in P2, as he's 0.5 seconds. So Alex is just continuing to hold that half a second lead, and it is literally as close as you can see it. So Matt continuing to get him down, to grind him down, to see whether or not he can force him into that mistake. And I don't believe he's close enough down this back straight, the Bentley straight, to get the toe pole.
No, he's not close enough, but we have got some back markers in front, and I think Alex is not going to come across them until after the checkered flag here. If we look at them, they're not quite in the close enough to cause any real troubles. As we come into the last few corners of Balmerhole, Gorham and Murray's, and they're there, so hopefully they keep out of the way if they do have any off-circuit issues.
Yeah, and it looks like the only chance that Matt's really going to have to take this win is if Alex doesn't get the left-hander of Murray's right at the end of it, as he comes round Corham for the final time, the heavy braking zone into Murray's, and he's managed to turn the car, and I think he's going to run that up to the line and win this race. If the computer join us. So there he goes.
Here they come.
So yes, Alex does cross the line with a great performance in P1, and congratulations to our second position man, Matt Parr of the Grant Motorsport team, who has won this championship, the Sam Pearce Motorsport COVID-19 Coronavirus Cup for E-Clios. There he is, Matt in P2. Congratulations to Matt, and congratulations to Alex for his back-to-back victories following Silverstone. So yet again, the pair of them are doing very well. In P3 was the Pro-Am car of Scott Harper Thompson, just 2.9 seconds off, and in fourth place Graham. So Graham managed to not quit the race and do quite well, and I think he just had one little area where he had some issues early on, and the guys in front just got away. Everyone breathing a sigh of relief on this rainy day. Kiwi Russ, another solid performance in P5, and Rob Lewis from Club Racing UK in P6, Ed in P7, Sam in P8 getting some points, Dave in P9, so Sam winning out on that one in the end, and Big Tom Starkey, the ginger wrecking ball, having a fairly quiet race but getting points nevertheless. And a big shout out to the Norfolk fan club, Brewster, Eve, Dougie and Ralph. Hope you've enjoyed watching Big Tom go around in P10. In 11, Night Sky Watcher, Nick McLeod, just outside the points, Rob the Bear in P12 with a penalty, Mr G in P13, and in P14 Johnny T. So Jason working his way up the field and getting very dizzy heights of P10 at one stage, but he's just slipped out the points. He's going to have to go to bed now, as it is just coming up to midnight out there. So thanks for joining us, and I hope if Amanda's watching, hope you're well and the family's all good. But Karl, what are your thoughts about the race?
Yeah, I think it was a great race overall. I think the fastest two found out that they are still the fastest two in the wet, as you'd expect. And I think throughout the whole field there was good little battles, which is great to see, and we managed to watch a few of them. But it does mean that the championship is over, but there's still one more race to go, and that means there's still another win out there.
There is, and it'll be interesting to see when the gloves are off and people aren't racing for championship positions. But there may be some other stuff that's going to go on down the field to see how the rest of the the series goes. So Alex in P1, Matt P2, Scott P3, Graham P4, Russ P5, Rob P6, Ed P7, Sam P8, Dave P9, and Big Tom Starkey rounding out our top 10 in this. And yet again, Snetterton hasn't disappointed. It has given us the rain, and it has given us some interesting points in the race. But everyone seems to have had a great time, and I'm sure they'll all be looking forward to a beer after that one.
Yes, Paul. I think all the drivers have been quite happy with it by listening to the chat on the group chat. So I think it's been a successful race weekend.
It has.
A usual wet Snetterton.
It has. So thanks for joining me, Karl. Thanks for doing the race direction. You've done a fantastic job. there. Thanks to all of our drivers, and thanks to everyone who followed us this week. We will update the championship at a later stage, just to see how we're getting on. But thanks for joining us once again as our final race of the season, which is no holds barred, apart from probably 3rd, 4th and 5th in the championship, which will be interesting to see next week before it goes, is from Brands Hatch and the famous GP circuit. So hopefully we return to sunny days. The full GP circuit is a great way to round out the season. But stay safe, thanks for joining us, and we'll see everyone next week.